Yo, what is up, everybody? Welcome back to another great episode of the Athletic Exchange podcast. Today we are with, excuse me, we are with Tom Brady at heart. Well, not we, I am. I'm a big Tom Brady fan. He's still a New England Patriot in my heart, but we will be discussing some NFL topics today. We're going to go over some stuff that's been going on with training camp. You know, training camp is a very interesting time in the NFL season. There's a lot of overreactions to a lot of things, small things. When the news is slow, just people like to get going. We're going to be talking about our predictions for this season, each division in the NFL. We're going to be going over what me and Ali Pop think over here. My great co-host. I wouldn't have anybody else on with me unless it was David Letterman. But other than that, I mean, I'm fine with Oliver being my co-host.
I appreciate
And then
that.
after that, we're gonna, of course, and then we're gonna be talking about our the big news with the college football conference realignment. So, without further ado, let's get into it.
Well,
So
we're back, aren't we? Um,
we are.
I just want
We
to
are.
shout out Darius. I want to shout out Darius again for joining us last week. That was pretty cool to have him on. And we wish him luck in his career. I know his dad told me he was fighting in September, so good luck in September, Darius. We appreciate you coming on.
Good luck.
So we are going to kind of preview. We'll kind of go more in depth and preview as we get closer to the season. But like training camp is so weird, man. It's because
It
like
is.
I can't like you don't really hear much. Like you'll see like super like highlight, super weird, super kind of sporadic highlight reels. My biggest takeaway, and it's honestly probably one of the least relevant teams now, is the Buccaneers. The Buccaneers stink. Like they're they're not good. Like I I like Baker Mayfield. I do. Like I hope the guy lives an illustrious life. But he is not a good NFL quarterback. And then the other guy fighting for fighting for the spot, Kyle Trask. Like I can't even like maintain myself. That Kyle Trask guy who couldn't even like throw a ball like 20 yards down the field at Florida is fighting for that starting spot. So that's kind of been my biggest takeaway so far. What's yours?
Well, obviously, my team is the New England Patriots. Duh. Love the Patriots. Will always love the Patriots. I don't care that Brady left. Not going to hop onto the Buccaneer bandwagon. I stay loyal to the team, and it got me absolutely nowhere. But I'm still loyal. But surprisingly enough, there's nothing really about the Patriots training camp so far that has really shocked me or whatever. I mean, to be expected, the offense has gotten better. Kyle Duggar, safety for the Patriots, came out and said that, in practice, it's a lot harder to guard the offense than it was last year, and they feel like it's like Bill O'Brien is giving them like a really good challenge trying to guard them in practice. So I think it's good that we put the whole Mac Jones Bailey Zappi debate, because apparently Mac Jones has been light out in training camp. It's kind of what happens when you have an offensive coordinator that actually knows offense and not some dude off the
Yeah.
street selling lemonade. You pick him up to run your offense. It's like this. Imagine telling a plumber to come to your house and fix your AC system. Do you think they could do that? Absolutely not. That's what Bill Belichick was trying to do last year with Matt Patricia.
Oh God.
It just didn't work out. But what I really like this season, and I mentioned this earlier to you, is I know people are going to talk about the highlights, but just in general is the way that the Pittsburgh Steelers have been gelling, and apparently they got a lot better on defense. Their defense is really good this year. Obviously, we saw that catch with George Pickett to
Yeah.
Pickens, and then Joey Porter Jr. got absolutely demolished on that. Like, obviously, that's all for highlights. That's all for social media, but there's a lot more that goes on, and I think it's interesting that Pickens is becoming, like, how do I put it? Not social media savvy, but like he talks his talk and he backs it up. Now, it is only training camp, and a lot of the times they won't have full pads, full everything. They'll just have the shoulder pads and the helmet, which is different because it's just a different environment. But I like what I've seen from them. I like that they still got Najee Harris. Kenny Pickett is. I feel like he's going to take that next leap, and then their wide receivers are really, really good, and I like what I've been seeing in training camp from them. One thing you always got to appreciate about the Steelers is that they rarely like the Patriots, which is why I like the Patriots until the past couple of years. But they don't really have like drama like surrounding them. Pretty much preseason, middle of season, end of season. I think Tomlin does a good job of keeping that down. When Brown tried to start drama, they got rid of Antonio Brown. When Le'Veon Bell tried to start drama, they got rid of Le'Veon Bell. They just have like this standard. I think it's good for Pickett to be in that environment because I don't think a lot of people want to see him succeed, sincerely. I think people think he has small hands and he's just going to be a mediocre quarterback. And just because he went to Pitt, that's why he got drafted to the Steelers, which may be true. But I think I like what I've seen from the Steelers so far in training camp, and I love that the Cowboys are absolutely hating each other right now. I love the
Yeah, I
Diggs
love it too.
Prescott feud. It's
Yeah.
amazing. It's just I can't wait to see this offense score around 20 points a game, 20 a little under 20 a game with Mike McCarthy calling plays. So yeah,
Yeah,
my biggest takeaway has to be Pittsburgh.
that's fair. I yeah, I'm glad the Cowboys are at each other's throats. It makes me happy. I'm ready to see Dak throw like 20
Yes,
interceptions. That's gonna be great.
absolutely,
But I
for
had a couple
sure.
more. I had a couple more things. I've been honing in on the NFC South partly because
Hmm.
it's the worst division in football. Maybe I mean the AFC South might have an argument, but the Jags are in that division, so that's why I kind of put the NFC South as the worst. But one of the bigger takeaways I've had is the Panthers. I and we'll kind of get into it later, but the Panthers,
Hmm.
surprisingly, Bryce Young, from everything I've seen, reports on Twitter, stuff like that, he's looking really good. Like he's looking like what
Hmm.
they wanted out of the first overall pick, which it's expected if you're a first overall pick, but like considering
Right,
all the doubts with his size, with his hand size, etc. The guy has all the tools anyways. It doesn't matter. Like we don't
for
like
sure. Yeah.
sizes of quarterbacks don't matter anymore. Like we're in the Lamar Jackson, Jalen Hurts, uh, Kyler Murray kind of build for a quarterback. Obviously, you still have your Josh Allen's, your Patrick Mahomes, the kind of big like tank kind of humans, but
Hmm.
we're kind of getting into that phase where the quarterback is like a hybrid. It's a
Yep.
they have to throw it and they have to run it. So um,
Mhm.
I've heard a lot of good things about Bryce Young, and I'm very much looking forward to seeing how he's going to do. And then kind of going into my Bills a little bit, Dalton Kincaid has been freaking absurd at training camp. Like he has
Mhm.
been out of his mind. Um, and that makes me happy because honestly, like when we played the Chiefs, like Travis Kelsey tears us up. And on offense, we have Diggs, obviously, but like that's pretty much it. We needed that kind of second option that can help Diggs get relieved of having to, you know, want or having to get every single ball thrown to him. But I think Kincaid's going to open the offense up way more for Josh Allen. And now we have Damian Harris, we have James Cook in the backfield. That's going to help too. And then we'll see how Gabe Davis does, but he's in a contract here, so hopefully he comes out and kind of performs the way he was performing in
Um,
that. Go ahead.
Okay, let's just pause here. I'm not gonna act like this tight end is the second coming of Tony Gonzalez, but
Look, hey,
I mean,
hey, I'm not
damn, is
saying
Dawson
that.
not? Hold on, oh, no, I'm not talking about Dalton Kincaid. Is Dawson Knox not on the roster anymore? Is he
He
released? Is
is.
he working at McDonald's down the street? Did he not lead the league in touchdowns 2 years ago from the tight end position? Or am I tripping? Or
Okay, yeah,
am I
yes.
going
The tight.
insane? Or is Dawson
Okay,
Knox not a weapon?
okay. Let me get to that. Dawson Knox is
This
a.
is crazy.
Are you okay?
This is this is blasphemous.
Dude,
I'm not even a
let me
Bills
explain.
fan.
I like Dawson Knox. I do. But I view Dawson Knox more as a blocking slash goal line catch kind of tight end. Like he can, if you're at the 1 yard line and Josh Allen needs to scuffle out and throw a little, tiny pass to a tight end, that's what Dawson Knox is there for. But I see
Mm.
Dalton Kincaid more as a route runner kind of guy, like a Travis Kelsey, get into the middle of the field and catch that long throw from Josh Allen. Like he can expand the way that we run the offense. We can run two tight end sets. Like I would not be surprised to see Ken Dorsey running two tight ends in certain sets. And it's going to be great because that's going to help both Kincaid and it's going to help Knox because one of them is going to be free and both of them can catch. Um, but I do think Dawson Knox's ceiling, or excuse me, Dalton Kincaid's ceiling is way higher than Dawson Knox's is. Because like you mentioned, yes, Dawson Knox did lead tight ends in touchdown catches. That's fair. But would you have taken him over Travis Kelce? The answer is no. Like you can't say that. Like my point is, they're both good, but Dalton's ceiling is way higher. Obviously, it's his rookie year. We have to see how it goes. Goes down. But the offense is
All
going to
right,
look more
okay.
expanded.
All
So
right,
that's
okay. All
that's
right.
essentially my
Whatever you
point.
say, Bills fan. Whatever you say, Bills fan.
We'll see. We'll see. I'm keeping my expectations decently like in the middle right now, but I mean, it is what it is. We'll see what happens um, come week 1 against the Jets. Are we on Monday Night Football for that game? I think we are. Something like that. But
I'm not sure.
anyways, you want to run into our division predictions here. I'll let you go first. You want to
Yeah,
start with
yeah, yeah, yeah.
you want to start with the shittiest divisions first, and then we can kind of go into our into the better
Yeah,
divisions.
let's go ahead and do that. Let's go ahead and talk about the National Football Conference South. Um, let's just put it this way. Um,
One of them's gonna make the playoffs. So
yeah, unfortunately. Let's just put it this way. Um, if you're a fan of one of these teams, God bless your heart, because I can only imagine how high the blood pressure is going to get this season. Um, it's truly a tragedy and a travesty that you would have to watch these teams play football this season. Um, and I know the Patriots are, they didn't make the playoffs, and I know one team's going to make the playoffs, but I mean, like, I'm just looking at the stats from last year. Buccaneers 8-9, Panthers 7-10, Saints 7-10, Falcons 7-10. Like,
wait, the
what are we
Falcons won
doing here?
7 games last year. What?
They did? Is this not a National Football League? Are we professionals out here? They must be grabbing up folks off the street to play for them because this is absolutely ridiculous. And this year, it's not going to be that much better. I hate to break it to you. My predictions are as follows. In fourth place, clearly, I think it's going to be the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I think Tampa Bay will be in fourth place in the division. I think Atlanta will be third place in the division. I think they'll make some leaps. And then I think that the Panthers will be second in the division. And then finally, by default, I think the Saints will be first in the division. Now, I don't think the Saints will have like a really good record. I think the Saints will go maybe 10-7 or 11-6, which in my opinion is not a really really good record. That's not a record to run away with the division with. But I
It's
think when you look
decent
at the
record.
New Orleans Saints, yeah, when you look at the New Orleans Saints, you got Derek Carr playing quarterback for the team. Now, I don't understand the hype with Carr, never have. As a lot of people like to say, he hasn't won a playoff game. So I don't understand it. I don't know why he's viewed as like such a good quarterback. He's a good leader. This is where Dak is falling right now. Dak is like looked at those, oh, he's such a great leader. He's a guy. He represents Texas. He represents Dallas Cowboy football. Well, that's good and all, but Derek Carr, he doesn't have the skill set. And I think they're going to win so many games just based off their defense alone. The Saints defense is always elite. It has always been elite. And then you got two outstanding running backs in Alvin Kamara and Jamal Williams, who just came over from Detroit, who's a goal line cheat code. I think they'll win by default just because their defense is so good. I don't think you're going to see spectacular numbers from them on offense. The Panthers, I think, will make a pretty good leap. They have a solid defense too, a very very good defense, and they have a young quarterback that the team believes in, and that's huge. When you have a quarterback that's like young and you can tell they're going to be good, you kind of like are motivated to try to help him out. This happened with Burrow. Nobody ever wanted to go to Cincinnati. All of a sudden, Joe Burrow, a couple of games before he had his freak injury his rookie year, and now people are like, oh, snap, this dude has what it takes. Like, let me go play with him. Or we got his back no matter what. Bryce Young, I think, is going to be that dude, like Oliver said. It's going to be really, really good quarterback. Now, the Falcons, I feel like I just got done watching the series quarterback. And just looking at it from Mariota's standpoint last year, I mean, they had so many close games. They had so many. And if they just had
They
slightly
did.
better quarterback play, if they just had a little bit better quarterback play, they could have easily had a winning record and been above 500. And I think the Falcons are going to take a step. Now, whether Ritter is good or not, who knows? Maybe they'll be in the Caleb Williams sweepstakes. We'll see what happens with them. But I think the Falcons are not going to try to lose games. They're going to try to get into the
Yeah.
playoffs, I think. Defense is not super good. Offense is not super good, but they got Kyle Pitts and Drake London. I mean, those are two really good weapons that any team would take. And then the Buccaneers are like a flag football team at a YMCA. You got Baker Mayfield throwing the ball
He's trying to go back to
across
Gainesville.
Tampa Bay to the other side of the bay, almost going towards Orlando. And you have Kyle Trask.
I'll I'll
I
keep
think he
this.
wants to go back to Florida. Clearly, he wants to go back to college because I don't think he's built for this moment. Todd Bowles, terrible coach. I think he's a terrible coach. He when I've watched some of the Buccaneers games last season, he just refuses to make adjustments in game. So record wise, I don't have anything specific for you for each team,
I'll keep this
but I
one
think the
short. This
Saints
is like
finish
I'm
somewhere
not even
around
like
10-7 or
concerned
eleven
about
and
this
six.
division by
What
any
about you,
means,
Oliver?
but
What's your opinion on this
um,
trash can
last
division of a
place
team
I'm with you.
or
I think the
division
Buccaneers finish
of the
dead
league?
last in that division. The Falcons finishing third. I think Desmond Ritter is going to be a he's going to be a formidable quarterback. He's going to be okay, decent. Like he's not going to be than the Saints does. Yeah, Alvin Kamara, Mike Thomas. Is he even going to be playing? Is Mike Thomas like still hurt? Like I haven't heard anything about that guy. Um, no matter who their quarterback is. Like I said, I like Baker, but I don't know, man. I don't know. It's gonna be tough. It's gonna be tough. So I have the Bucks finishing dead last in that division. I have terrible. He's not gonna be great.
Mm.
He's not gonna be a game changer by any means, but he'll be a serviceable He'll get you some wins. Um, but I think the Falcons finished third. I have the Saints as second, and here's why.
Legend has it he's
Because
actually running
I think the
slants in his
Panthers'
house right
offense
now.
has a
Legend has
lot
it
more
he's actually
weapons.
running slants in his house right now.
Oh my God! So it's like for me, the Saints don't have enough. And do I trust Derek Carr to to lead a team to win that division? I mean, he can. Obviously, it's a terrible division, but I have the Panthers winning this division because of the weapons on that offense. They have Adam Thielen, DJ Chark, Miles Sanders coming out of the backfield.
All right, so while Mr. Mintz over here is dealing with some technical issues, we're going to move on to another division. We're going to try to go from weakest to strongest here. So, our next division that I feel like is going to be relatively weak, not as weak as the NFC South, but I think they're going to be pretty weak. Is going to be the AFC South. I don't know what it is with these Southern teams, but last year you had Jacksonville and Trevor Lawrence go 9-8. The Titans went 7-10, but they finished the season on a 7-game losing streak, which is kind of crazy. Because they've always been good. They're always making the playoffs. They have a good coach, great running back, but everybody else has kind of like failed in their role besides the defense. I say that I mean the receiving core, tight ends. They just when you're so one dimensional, it's hard. Then you got Indy and Anthony Richardson and the Houston Texans. So, in my opinion, I think the Houston Texans are due for a big year this season. They also were in a lot of close games last year, like I believe the Atlanta Falcons were. They are going to get a hell of a coach in D'Amico Ryans, and I think D'Amico Ryans is that dude. They have a stud quarterback in CJ Stroud that they just got from Ohio State. Will Anderson Jr. is on that defensive front. They've had a couple of people join the team. Dalton Schultz. I believe that Devin Singletary joined the team. The Texans, honestly, I don't think they're going to win a lot of games, but I think they're going to have some of those games that are like, wow, I think you can catch the Texans beating a good team 2 or 3 times this season that everybody thought the other team should have won. I think the Texans will put up some pretty good numbers this season, and I think that defense is going to be. So I think they're going to be top 10 only because D'Amico Ryans is the head coach, and he wanted Anderson and Stroud. But I think it's going to bite them in the butt in the long term because they gave up a lot to get back-to-back top 3 picks. That's just mind-boggling to me. I feel like they're rushing a little bit. But the Texans, they went 3-13-1 last year. I think this year they maybe win 7 games. I think that's not their peak, but I feel like that's right in the average for the Houston. I think Stroud will play good. I think they'll play good, and they'll be a fun team to watch. And then the Colts, I think, are going to be probably around the same level as them. I think the Colts will go, let's say, probably 7-10 as well. They'll probably win a couple of games in the division and lose a couple. But it all comes down to how Anthony Richardson plays. But what's interesting is that this whole Jonathan Taylor situation, if you don't have him on your team, it's going to be like Lamar Jackson all over again. And you're going to be having a one-man show. You're going to have Richardson trying to do everything by himself all season, and he's going to get worn down. I don't care how in shape he is. I don't care that he's young. He's going to get absolutely worn down. And this is what we saw happen to Lamar because the Ravens refused to give him weapons. But they still sold tickets because it's Lamar Jackson. Anthony Richardson without good receivers, a running game, it's going to be tough. The Colts defense is not going to be that good this year. They still have Shaquille Leonard, but they lost a really good corner in Stephon Gilmore. And even though he's getting old, he was Defensive Player of the Year. So, like, Colts, I think, will be either right at the level of the Texans or right below the Texans. The Titans, I think they'll be a lot better this year. Well, a lot better. It's subjective. They lost 7 games in a row last year, so to finish the season, it's hard to say how good they're actually going to be. So that if they lost 7 in a row, that means they were 7-3. That's kind of sad. So they were playing good, and then they just tumbled down the stairs. They got DeAndre Hopkins. I think that'll be good for them. I don't think he's washed. I think he's a very talented receiver, like we talked about on a previous episode. I think that'll help them, but I don't like how they're handling their quarterback situation. Tannehill he's formidable, but come on, man. Like if the Titans are trying to win now, they need to get rid of him. Pick Willis or pick Levis. Pick one or the other, honestly, because whether what you got two that are supposedly have a really high ceiling, pick one of them. And why are you if you're drafting Malik Willis, why are you drafting Will Levis? Just because he's there? Like it just doesn't make sense to me. Malik Willis didn't play good. But like, damn, give him a chance. Like, let him get into the swing of things. So that's where I stand with the Titans. I think they'll win 8 or 9 games. They'll be second in the division, and then I think Jacksonville absolutely goes berserk. They're in a weak division, and I think Jacksonville, based on how last year went with Kansas City, even though Trevor played really well, I think they know that like, okay, we got that dog in us. Like we are that team. Like we just came back down 27 against Justin Herbert, Keenan Allen, Mike Williams, Derwin James, Joey Bosa. Like we're that team. Like we are good, and we gave the Chiefs a run for their money. So I think Jacksonville, and this may sound like a stretch, I think they win 12 or 13 games this year, and they win the division. I think they're going to be that good.
13.
I think Trevor Lawrence has an MVP like season, and I think he just goes crazy. And I think Travis Etienne goes absolutely crazy. Christian Kirk goes crazy. Calvin Ridley cements himself as a top 5 to 10 receiver this year after being suspended for a year for being on FanDuel and DraftKings too much. Um,
I respect
that
it.
team is just so good, and Evan Ingram's still there, and their defense is getting better. Like, and they have a good coach. That's key. So that's where I stand with the AFC South. What about you, Wally Pop?
Yeah, sorry, my computer was wonky, but just to kind of wrap up, I think the Panthers win the South and they make the playoffs. But for this division, it's pretty. I think we got it. Both you and I are on the same wavelength here. I have
Yeah.
the Colts finishing last,
Mhm.
just because Anthony Richardson has nothing, and you
Right.
don't know if Jonathan Taylor's going to be playing this year because of his whole contract dispute, and Jim Irsay saying he's not leaving. Well, all right, buddy. I guess he's just not going to show up to work then. So you got to figure that one out, Jim. But yeah, the Colts are dead last. I have the Texans making some strides. I think D'Amico Ryans is going to carry that team and develop it pretty well for the future. I think Stroud and Will Anderson are going to lead the charge both on offense and defense for the future of that team.
Mhm.
I have the Titans finishing second. I don't think the Titans are going to make waves, and I'm kind of with you on the whole quarterback situation in Tennessee. Like, what are they doing? Like,
I don't
but
know.
like
I
like
don't.
you drafted Malik Willis last year, who I think is okay. He's okay. He's not
Right.
like he's
Right.
not a stud, but he has some talent. He's not a bad quarterback. Um, he was just kind of thrown into a shit situation. Like it wasn't like a oh hey Malik, like we're gonna develop you. It's they just kind of had him there, and then he got thrown into the fire at the end of the season, and it just didn't look good. But I still think the guy has
Mhm.
talent. And then Ryan Tannehill. I mean, my God, the guy sucks. Like you're paying
Why?
how, and they're paying him how much? Like
I don't know, but why is
he
Ryan Tannehill in the league but not Cam Newton?
yeah, yeah.
What like I don't
It doesn't make
understand
any
it.
sense. It doesn't make sense. But like, what are they like? It just doesn't. And then you draft a guy who puts mayo in his coffee. Like, are you out of your freaking mind? Like, do you think I trust the guy to lead my franchise who puts fucking mayonnaise in his coffee? Like what are we talking about here? What are we doing? I just don't
He's
get
just a
it.
little. He has some screws loose all over. He got a little bit of screws
And he
loose.
does, obviously, and that's why he slips in the draft. I don't trust the guy. I wouldn't trust the guy with anything. But what are they doing? But the thing is, they have more weapons than either the Colts or the Texans, and that's the only reason why I have them second in that division.
Mm-hmm.
Because having DeAndre Hopkins there helps. Having Derrick Henry there helps. So they're going to be relying on those two guys to kind of carry the load on offense. And I don't know if that's
Right.
going to be enough, especially with an aging D Hop and I wouldn't say aging Derrick Henry. I mean, he's still in his prime. But what is Derrick Henry going to do? He can only do so much. And
Mm-hmm.
so that's why I have them finishing second. And by virtue of them having more talent on offense than the Colts and Texans, I think the Colts and Texans have way better quarterback situations than the Titans do,
Right.
like by a
Right.
large mile. And I would not be surprised to see the Titans at the bottom of this division in a year or two. Like it could easily end up being
Oh,
that way
100%. I agree. I agree.
if they don't figure out what they want out of that quarterback situation, it's not gonna end well for them. And then the Jags are gonna finish first. That's pretty self-explanatory. I don't know if they're gonna win 13 games because then you're kind of fighting for that one seed.
Mm-hmm.
I bet they win. They'll get 11 games. I don't doubt that. They'll get 11, maybe 12. 13 is kind of a stretch, but they're looking really good, and they're scary. They're very scary. Anyways, should we move to the East now? Um, I guess we'll start
Sure.
with the NFC East. Also, I have some news. Our good friend Mr. Tim is going to be hopping on at the end to kind of give us a little rundown on his thoughts on college football. Uh,
Nice. Nice.
so we'll have him hop in for the last 5 minutes or so. And but anyway, NFC East. What do you
All
have?
right. So I'll make this brief. This division, in my opinion, is very good. I think they got a lot of talent. Um, I think Commanders are going to be significantly better this year with Eric Bieniemy calling plays and Sam
Yeah,
Howell being. I think he's a confident guy. I think people are kind of disrespecting Sam Howell, if I'm being completely honest with you. But I think
I kind
Sam
of agree.
Howell, he could be a really really. He's a big quarterback, and he's a good quarterback. Now, I did love when Taylor Heineke played for the team. I think that dude, he's not like super talented or anything, but just watching him play in the Commanders games was so entertaining because he would get so hyped about like everything. He'd throw a five
Yeah.
yard pass, hype. He'd throw a 60-yard dot, hype. He'd throw an interception. He would start yelling at himself. Like, dude was crazy out of his mind. But I think the Commanders are going to be good. And I think you're going to see Terry McLaurin have such a good season. I think he's going to have such an. I don't know why some people think Terry McLaurin. Like when people talk about the top receivers, nobody thinks about him. It's
No.
because he plays with so many quarterbacks, but he's so good. It makes no sense to me.
Well,
But
it's because he plays in
with all that
Washington. That's
said,
why.
right. With that being said, I think the Commanders finish one game better than they did last year. They were 8-1, and I think they get to 9-8.
Yeah.
They have a solid defense. Chase Young will be back. And I think they're going to be much improved offensively because of the addition of Eric Bieniemy at OC. Then you got New York. They went 9-7 last year, or 9-7-1 last year, and I think the New York Giants. This is opposite. Well, Saquon signed his deal, so he's back. Okay, so forget about the whole Saquon situation. He's back. I think the Giants will win the same amount of games they won. So I think they'll tie with the Commanders for last in the division because I think teams know that Daniel Jones is really not that elite. And I think they know that Saquon is going to try to play super well to get a contract. And I think people are they're going to be having spies on Saquon on every play. And what else are you going to do on offense? Now they got, what's his name? Jalen Hyatt out of Tennessee, speedster. Dude is an absolute monster. I don't know why he
He's
fell
a
so
beast.
far. They have him. They still have Sterling Shepard, correct?
Yes. hmm
They got Darren Waller, which I think is huge for them as well.
if he can
I think
stay
they'll be
healthy.
good if he can stay healthy, and I think their defense is kind of mid tier. They're like middle of the pack, and I think because teams know that Saquon is their entire offense, they're going to focus in on him, and he's not. They're not going to be able to do much. They'll double team him some plays if they could, and then I think Cowboys are going to win 11 games. I think they'll come in second. I know it's crazy because their team got better, but their coach, their situation got worse, if that makes sense. They
Yeah,
got Cooks, they got Gilmore, they got Mozzie Smith out of Michigan. Their team got better significantly. But when you take out Kellen Moore, who had that, it was like, I hate the Cowboys, don't get me wrong. But watching their games was so entertaining because they always like scored like on every drive. But
yeah,
then they started throwing interceptions, and then even the defense was fun to watch. Like Dan Quinn will have that defense ready to go. I'm just concerned about McCarthy calling plays. I think they're gonna try to run the ball more. Pollard is not gonna hold up the whole season. I will bet the house that Pollard doesn't hold up the whole season as the workhorse back for that team.
yeah.
But their offense is gonna look bad, in my opinion. And I think Philadelphia, I think they have the hardest schedule in the league this season. Philadelphia
I think
does.
they do. Yeah,
But but regardless, I think they are just so good. But they did lose their OC and their DC. But they still got Nick Sirianni. Nick Sirianni, pizza, pizza pie. We'll see what he does, Nick Sirianni. But I think as long as you got Jalen Hurts and Brown and Smith and the D line and Goddard
yeah.
and like basically their whole team, coaches say it. They say I can be as good of a coach as I want, but if I don't have players, I'm not going to be successful. And I think that roster is just absolutely just stacked
They're
from top to
they
bottom. They
had
still got
they had
Slay.
by yeah they had by far the best
Yeah,
draft too, by far.
I think they went. Yeah, I think they get the number one seed in the NFC by a. I don't want to say by a landslide. I think they'll get it though, and I think they'll win at least 12, 13 games. And the
Yeah,
reason I say that is because I think they'll be ahead so far at the end of the season. They might take a like how they did this past year, and they might just not win games at the end just to rest Jalen.
yeah. I'm with you. I think, but here's the thing: to kind of skip forward, I have the Eagles winning the division, obviously. But if you think about it, who else in the NFC are you? Do you think can compete for the one seed? Because
San
like I
Francisco,
don't. Okay, San Francisco, I might give you, but is that's it? Like there's nobody else like I can think of off the top of my head that outside of the Eagles and 49ers can compete for that one seed. And I think the Eagles
mm-hmm.
take it by a long shot. But anyways,
Yeah,
I have the Commanders finishing last. I think they improve. I think Sam Howell is going to show some promise. Um, Either that or they go the opposite direction and completely just blow the season away to get Caleb
mm-hmm.
Williams. Which either way could work out. So we'll see about the Commanders. Here's my surprise. I have the Cowboys finishing third, and here's why. Because
Wow,
it's more of what you were saying, and I still have them making the playoffs. I have three teams coming out of the East, which is kind of
right,
unheard of. You don't really see three teams coming out of a division, but I think
mm-hmm.
they barely, by the skin of their teeth, kind of get that seventh seed. But the thing that's concerning me is kind of your same concern. The fact that Mike McCarthy is going to be calling those plays. I don't trust Mike McCarthy at all. Like after what I saw in the
Literally,
playoffs last year, like there's just no way I can trust that guy to lead that offense. And the fact that I'm seeing, and obviously it's just training camp. I don't want to like, make super big assumptions, but it doesn't seem like the team is together. And obviously their defense is absurd. The defense is going to be fine. Micah Parsons is a dog. Trevon Diggs is, he's
dog.
good. He's good. But he has his flaws.
Gilmore.
But it is, yeah, Gilmore, but he's old.
Mm.
Whatever. But that defense is
Oh
going to
my
be good.
God! Don't disrespect Stephon Gilmore now.
I'm not
DPOY. Come
disrespecting,
on
bro. He's
now.
old. He's old. I'm sorry. Like I got look. The
LeBron is
man, like
old.
I'm pre.
LeBron's old.
Stop, stop, stop. Why are you
Continue.
comparing
Continue.
one of the greatest basketball
Continue.
players of all time to Stephon Gilmore? Come on, what are we doing here? But I think the Cowboys right now, and obviously this can change. The Cowboys finish third, but make the playoffs. I have the Giants finishing second. I have, I think the addition of Darren Waller, again, pending if he stays healthy. I think Darren Waller and Jalen Hyatt, Sterling Shepard, and former Bills legend Isaiah Hodgins, they are going to feast. And I don't think, I'm not a Daniel Jones believer, but I think they're gonna have a very good season. And I love Brian Dable, obviously, but and I hate that he's not
Okay,
with the Bills
I could
anymore.
see. I forgot. I
I
forgot
trust
Dable was the
Brian.
head
I
coach.
trust Brian Dable way more than I trust Mike McCarthy. So that's why I
Yeah.
have the Giants a little, just edging the Cowboys out for that second spot, and then the Eagles winning the division. And I don't think it's going to be relatively close, to be honest with you. The bottom half, or the bottom, I guess, three-quarters of this division is going to beat up on each other. The Cowboys, the Commanders, and the
Right.
Giants, they're going to beat up on each other. They might split the
Mm-hmm.
series, uh, the Commanders might split with the Cowboys and the Giants, and etc. So, but the Eagles, I think they go undefeated in the division. I don't see, like, maybe going to AT&T Stadium. They might lose that, but I don't see them losing a divisional game this year. And that's an easy 6 games for them. So I
I
don't
could see that
know.
happening. Truly, I could see that
Yeah.
happening.
Um, so I mean that's going to be an interesting. I'm really interested to see how the Cowboys go. I don't. I'm not.
Right.
I'm not sold. And you know, it is what it is with them. As Stephen A. Smith says, what can go wrong will go wrong,
Will go
and
wrong.
and
Absolutely.
and it's going to go wrong. And it wouldn't surprise me if they didn't make the playoffs. It would not surprise me one bit. But I have them in the playoffs just by a little bit because the NFC sucks. Um, but anyways, shall we move on to? Let's go to the AFC East. Let's go to
All right.
the toughest division in football
Represent, baby. Represent. AFC East. All right. I think this will be the best division in football this year.
by a
I'll go
mile.
through quick since we're running low on time here. But I think
Yeah,
it'll
we'll
be the
kind of
best
just
division in
knock these out.
football. I think Buffalo. I think Buffalo's still the clear favorite. I think people are disrespecting Buffalo a little bit. Disrespecting Josh Allen, in my opinion, just because he had an off year. Um, last
It
time I
wasn't even
checked,
an off
in his
year.
first,
Come on.
yeah. Last time I checked, I mean, did Peyton Manning not throw a bunch of interceptions in his first couple of years in the league, and now he's viewed as a top 4, top 5 quarterback of all time? As long as they got Josh running that offense and they got Diggs who's willing to participate. And then with the addition of Kincaid, I think Bills easily win that division. I could see them winning 12, 13 games again. I think people could say, oh, we'll stop Allen. All you got to do is stop Allen. I think he's unguardable. I think there's nothing you can do. If you try to rush him, spy him, he throws it 80 freaking yards down the field. If you try to play coverage, he'll take off and you can't tackle him and he will run you over. He will not run out of, he will run you over every single time. That defense is still elite. I think the loss of Edmonds is kind of huge for them. I think Edmonds is good, but they got Milano, who's playing out of his
Yeah.
mind, and I think that defense will be absolutely fine. Miller will hopefully be back healthy again, and I think Miller's motivated to try to help Buffalo get a Super Bowl as well. So I think they'll be good. Second place, I have the New York Jets. I think there'll be growing pains at the beginning of the season, but I think ultimately they end. I think they start out the season maybe like a rough 4-4 or 3-5, and then they finish out on an absurd streak, maybe losing to Buffalo once or maybe Miami at the end of the season. But I think the Jets end up going 11-6, 11-6, or what is it, 12-5, 10, 11, or 12. I know that's a wide range, but I think they win a lot of games. I think the maturity of Aaron Rodgers, along with those young guys believing in him, I think they're just going to be so good. That defense, they're just that might be the best defense in the league outside of San Francisco. I'm being dead serious when I say that. They are
You're
just.
right.
I think they're better than Philly's defense. If I'm being, the New York defense is absurd, and Sauce Gardner lock up. Then I think you got Miami. I think the reason why they fall to third is because Tua, I don't see him lasting the whole season, and their backup is. Who's their backup? Do you know, Oliver, who their backup is?
Skylar
Not
Thompson.
Skylar Thompson. No, it's not Skylar. They just signed somebody. Oh, it's
I don't know.
Mike. It's Mike White. I think they got Mike White
Oh yeah,
from New
that's
York
right.
Jets.
Yeah,
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 they
yeah, yeah.
got Mike White, and he's all right. But I mean that if Tua stays healthy, they could I think be second. But I don't think he's going to be healthy the whole season. If I'm being completely honest with you, and Jalen Ramsey's
Yeah,
out for the first half of the season. He's old, but he's good. I mean, him and Howard are we're going to be super elite together. But if Cook signs with the Dolphins, or well, see, this is all dependent on Dalvin Cook signing with whoever, because he's going to sign with the team in that division. I feel like it's inevitable.
yeah,
But I think they finish. The Dolphins probably finish 10-7 ultimately, because Tua won't stay healthy the whole season. But I feel like I wouldn't be surprised to see them win 12 or 13 games if Tua plays the whole season. But I don't think that's going to happen. And then the
yeah,
Patriots. Uh, I love the Patriots, but I'm also a realist. I don't think the Patriots are going to win that many games, mainly due to the fact that they play in such a good division. I think they're going to lose to each one of those teams at least once. I can see them losing to the Bills twice. I can see them losing to the Dolphins twice. I can't see them losing to the Jets twice. Because the Jets are Bill Belichick just owns the Jets. I think they've beaten them 15 straight years, and since the last time the Jets beat the Patriots. So that's my prediction. I think the defense is going to be elite for New England, like always. I think Christian Gonzalez is the truth. That's also my little brother's name. Shout out to my little brother Christian. Um, and I think Mac Jones is going to have a great year, but I mean, they just play in such a tough division. I mean, that's the truth. They're going to finish 9-8. That's what I think they're going to finish at, and they'll miss the playoffs at 9-8, which is kind of sad.
yeah.
But
It's
go
crazy.
ahead.
Ditto. Like straight up, like you just copy pasted what I was gonna say. Um, I mean, Bills,
Nice.
Jets, Dolphins, Patriots. That's exactly how I had it lined up. I think the Jets start slow. I think they lose week one. Obviously, I'm a Bills fan. But I'm a realist, but I do think the Bills pull that game off, just because the Bills have been in those primetime games. They've been in those
Right.
situations before, and
Been there, done that.
Josh Allen, trust you me, Josh Allen knows that everyone is picking the Jets. Everyone and their mother is picking the Jets to win that week one matchup. And I'm telling you right now, I don't think it's going to be close. Like I think the Jets are going to come out week one sluggish. It's a new offense. It's a brand new team.
Expect
Aaron
it.
Rodgers. You kind of expect the growing pains to happen. Um, but I think they're actually the most bet on team, one of the most bet on teams to win the Super Bowl, which is absurd to me considering that conference they're in. I mean, you have the
Well,
Jags, you have the
yeah,
Bills, you have the Chiefs, you have the
yeah.
Broncos, the Chargers, I mean, the Bengals, the Ravens. Like, you can't expect a year one old Aaron Rodgers. And, like, he's still great,
Mm,
obviously. But in a new system with a new head coach, it's going to take some time. So it is
can
winner
I
go
say something
home
real
for the
quick?
Jets.
I'm
Yeah,
I'm going to say something real quick. I know the conference is super strong, but Brady went to the Buccaneers without no offensive coordinator, former offensive coordinator, former receivers. He just went there with Gronk. Everything else there to him was brand new. He learned the Buccaneer system. They didn't learn his system. He learned the
that's
Buccaneer
fair.
system. A-Rod has his offensive coordinator, Nathaniel Hackett. Now, while he stunk up the joint in Denver, he
Yeah,
still knows how to call offense. So I just want to bring that up, but you can continue.
yeah, that's a good point. But there's gonna be it's gonna take some time, and I don't think
Yeah, I
having
agree.
The Bills week one, that's a tough task. And I know it's at MetLife, but I don't think the Jets come out with the W in that week one matchup. I think they
I don't
might get
think
us
any
later
of the New
down.
York teams have a true home court advantage. I don't
I
think
don't think so
either of
either.
the NFL teams. They like are did I say
And
home court, home field? Yeah, they don't.
Buffalo
It's
fans are
not
gonna
really.
travel. The Buffalo
Yeah,
fans are gonna travel.
one
Like
one
it,
1,000%. Of
to
course.
MetLife, that's not a bad trip for them. So
Yeah,
obviously it's across across the entire state, but New York's not too
yeah,
huge. It's not big
yeah,
enough for them to not go.
yeah.
um, so
Of
yeah, the
course.
Bills win, Jets second. Let's kind of go rapid fire here. Um, you want to do? Let's do the NFC North. Who do you have winning that?
Got you. NFC North. NFC North. Okay. All right. Here we go. I got the Lions being first in division with the
Yeah,
record of 12-5. I got the Vikings being second in the division. I think they're still good. I think Cousins is still serviceable. I think they go 10-7, maybe 10-7. I could see the Vikings going 10-7. They'll have a little bit of a drop off, and then I see the Bears and Packers being like notoriously bad. I don't think any of them are going to make huge strides. I don't think Jordan Love is that dude. I don't think the Packers are really good on defense anymore. I think Fields will have good individual statistics, but it won't be enough to carry his team. My opinion. I know he has DJ Moore, so I can see the Bears finishing like 6-11, and I could see the Packers finishing 6-11. That's where I stand there.
Yep, I have the Lions winning the division, the Vikings second, Bears third, Packers dead last. I don't know about Jordan Love. I haven't heard much. I hope he does well. He
Yep.
was wasn't he a top 10 pick, something like that? He was a first rounder.
I don't
But
remember honestly.
yeah, I know he was a first rounder. But like
Yeah.
you don't know. It's a new quarterback. I mean, the Packers haven't had to worry about a quarterback for years. I mean, like they had Brett Favre, and then it was a pretty smooth transition into Aaron Rodgers. And honestly, it might
Yeah.
happen with Jordan Love because it's kind of the same situation Aaron Rodgers went through.
Right.
Because Aaron Rodgers was under Brett Favre for X amount of years, and then once Brett left, Aaron just kind of took the reins, and it just went super smoothly. So it might end up being that way for Jordan Love because he had that experience. He saw the MVP season that Aaron Rodgers had. So it might end up turning out well, but you just don't know yet. That's why I have them dead last.
Right.
I think the Bears are going to be just a little bit better than the Packers. I think they finally get over the hump and beat the Packers. And you know the notorious thing that the Packers have always, and Aaron Rodgers is the Bears' daddy. Like that's done. Like I don't think it's going to happen much anymore. Vikings second, Lions first. I like Jared Goff. I'm on Ross St. Brown. All those guys in Detroit, and Dan
Hutchinson.
Campbell. He's just yeah. Hutchinson's a beast. And Dan Campbell's he's a fireball. I love that guy.
I love that dude. That dude is amazing. I love
He's
Dan
awesome.
Campbell.
He's a great coach. Let's move to the AFC West. This one's a little
All
tough.
right, AFC West. Oh, really? You think this one's tough? I think this
Well,
one's pretty
outside of who's going to win
self-explanatory.
it, like we know who's going to win. Come
I
on.
think the Denver Broncos win the division and go 17-0. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just messing around. I think the Kansas City Chiefs steamroll the entire division. I don't think they lose a single game to any of these teams. The Chargers always get close, but they always end up losing. The Raiders always get close. They always end up losing. The Broncos are basically like a scrimmage for them. Let's just put it that way. I don't care if Sean Payton, Russell Wilson, prime Peyton Manning quarterbacking that team. They have a curse. I think the Chiefs end up going the same exact record they went last year, 14-3. Literally the exact same record. I think the Chargers come in second place with the same exact record as last year, 10-7. Scratch that. I think they go 11-6. And the reason I think they get one more win is because their offense is going to be absolutely absurd with Kellen Moore running the offense. I just don't know if their entire team can stay healthy with Mack and Bosa and all those guys. And what's his name? Quentin Johnston out of TCU. I think that's a good addition, but they got too much depth. They can't get him the ball. Then I got the Raiders. No, Broncos. Broncos. I think the Raiders and Broncos finish with the same record. I think they go 7 and no, I can't do that. 8-9. 8-9 for both of those teams. That's where I stand.
You said you had the Broncos finishing last.
Well, I think they're tying 8-9. I think both the Raiders and the Broncos go 8-9.
You're not gonna like mine. So obviously I have the
Okay,
Chiefs.
let's hear it.
I have the Chiefs winning. I have the Broncos second.
Yeah.
I have the Broncos winning, making the playoffs out of that division. I have them in second place.
Okay.
I am not
Wait,
a
can you
Brandon
hold on?
Staley.
Can you open your eyes real wide for me and put them close to the camera? I just need to see if you're under the influence or anything. Can you? All right, just double checking. Go ahead, continue.
I mean, I can be. I have a beer, but no. I think Sean Payton, I think is going to turn that team around. I think Nathaniel Hackett was not the right coach, and obviously he wasn't. But um, I think Sean Payton and Russell Wilson together, they're going to be a lot better than people are expecting them to. I think
Mm-hmm.
Cortland Sutton's a dog. I think Jerry Judy's a dog. Um, so I don't think that team, they're going to be very decently solid. So I have them in second place. I am by no means a Brandon Staley believer, so that's why I have them third. It'll be close between them, between the Broncos and Chargers, but I think the Chargers, their fault is their coaching, and obviously Kellen Moore is there now. But then again, it's Brandon Staley. Like, I just don't know about the guy. Um, he can't win a playoff game, that's for sure. At least he hasn't proven that he can as a head coach. So, but Sean Payton has. So that he's won a Super Bowl as coach. So that's why I have a little more trust. Obviously, new team, new system, but I think the Chargers end up third and the Raiders last. That's going to be a tough division to play in. Obviously, you still have Devontae, you still have um, Josh Jacobs. So it's going to be interesting to see what they do. I just don't
The
know
loss of
about
Waller.
Jimmy G. Yeah, they did lose Waller, and Jimmy G is
Mm-hmm.
okay. But
Mm-hmm.
yep. So the Broncos make the playoffs. They come second in the division. That's what I think. Um, like it or not, people listening, um, it is what it is. The Broncos are coming in second.
Huh. Whatever. All right, AFC North. Let's do the AFC North real quick. I think this one, oh my gosh, I think this will be one of the toughest divisions too with the AFC East.
Yeah, it is.
I got honestly, my friend, ex coworker, he was on the podcast in episode 2 or 3. Demonique Zachary, huge Ravens fan, huge Lamar fan. And I always said that Lamar doesn't have good passing ability, but I think with the new OC, I think the Ravens are we're about to see the Ravens do something crazy this year. Truly. I would not be surprised if they have a better record than Kansas City. I'm not joking you. I think the Ravens get first in the division, and I think, bold prediction here, I think they sweep Cincinnati. I think they beat Cincinnati both
Whoa!
games. Bold
Whoa! Whoa! Whoa!
prediction,
Whoa! Time.
I, I,
Are you
I think
are
they
you under
sweep
the
Cincinnati.
influence? Are you under the influence? Like, what? What? They sweep? They
They
they go
sweep.
into
I think
Cincinnati.
the Ra-
They go into Cincinnati and beat Joe Burrow and T Higgins and
Yep.
Jamar Chase.
What happened in the
Really?
playoffs? If Tyler Huntley would have went under instead of over on the sneak, we could be having a different story. We could be talking about the Bengals as a
Fair.
choke team. I mean, let's just call it what it is. I think the Ravens get first in the division, and I think they win 13 games, man. I really do. I don't think their defense is too good. Lamar's too good. They have Odell and Flowers, who's apparently super good. New the OC is gonna go crazy. I think they're gonna sweep Cincinnati, and I think they win 13 games, and they probably get the 2 or 1 seed, which is, I know, crazy, but I think they're that good. Then I got the Bengals going second. Clearly, I think the Bengals will win 12, probably 12 games. I think they'll barely get the second. They'll still make the playoffs as one of the wild cards, but I don't think they win the division. I think the Ravens are going to be that good. Then you got Cleveland. I think I have Cleveland third. I think they win 10 games. Uh 10 games, and then I think the Browns win probably 10 games too. I think they're still going to be good. I think Watson's going to take it to
Yeah.
another level this year.
Yeah. Um, I'm kind of with you outside of the Ravens sweeping the Bengals. Like, it's yesterday's
All
news.
right.
Like, what?
Okay.
Come
We'll
on.
see. We'll see.
I have the Bengals winning this division. Um, I think they get close to 12 games. Um, I think the Ravens. I've struggled with this one. I'm not as high on the Ravens as you are. Um, I, I I think the Browns can compete for that playoff spot. I think two teams are coming out of the AFC North.
Mm.
I think the Browns have a legit shot. And I'm not like blowing smoke here. It's, obviously it's Cleveland, but like I think the Browns, and obviously Deshaun Watson's not the most favored person in the world, but
Right.
for legitimate reasons. But I do think a full off season, a full off season with all those weapons, with Amari Cooper, with Peoples Jones, with Nick Chubb.
Yep.
I think that
Mm-hmm.
is a very and Miles Garrett's still there, a very formidable team that could absolutely compete in this division. I don't see why you can't. Deshaun Watson
Yep.
still has the talent. Kevin Stefanski is not a
Yep.
bad play caller. He took fucking Baker Mayfield to the playoffs,
Uh,
and they have won
I'll
a
tell you what.
playoff game.
They need to get rid of Cade York. Shout out to Noel Stewart. He knows who he is. He's a sorry Browns fan and a sorry Mavericks fan. He knows who he is. They need to get rid of Cade York. He's stinking up the joint as we speak right now. Continue.
But yes, I think the Browns can compete. Um, I think they might get one on the Bengals. I think they can, possibly in Cleveland,
Mm.
but it'll be tough. It'll be tough. But I think for right now, I'm keeping the Ravens as second, Browns third. But that has been probably one of the tougher decisions I've had to make out of these predictions. And then
Yeah,
I
it's
have the
tough.
Steelers. I have the Steelers finishing last. I don't. Kenny Pickett, like Najee Harris, like you just don't know.
Mm-hmm.
So obviously Mike Tomlin's still a great coach, but I
Great
just
coach. Great.
I just don't know how that offense is going to look. Obviously they still have
Mm-hmm.
T.J. Watt on defense, but that's a tough division, and you have to have a quarterback in the league nowadays, and you don't know really much about Kenny Pickett, so that's why I have the Steelers last. Um, and rapid fire here. I guess we're going to go a little longer today, but that's okay. Um,
Okay.
the NFC West. This one's pretty decently simple. Um, I'll go ahead and say I have the 49ers winning. I have the Seahawks coming in second. I think Jackson Smith and Jigba falling into their lap was an absurd
I
thing to
wanted
happen.
him.
Probably, huh?
I wanted him in New England. I wanted
I
him in New
know.
England, but I'm glad we got
Like
Gonzalez.
but one like that has got to be one of the biggest steals of the draft outside of Jalen Carter going to Philly. I think Jackson Smith and Jigba is a game changer, and him alongside Tyler Lockett and DK Metcalf, that spells trouble. Um, so I think the Seahawks come in second, the Rams third. I don't know about the Rams. You still have Cooper Kupp, you still have Aaron Donald, you still have Matt Stafford, but I just don't know. I don't know. They're all kind
I
of
don't.
aging.
They're
I feel
weird.
like
Yeah, it's weird.
their Super Bowl window closed when they won. There
Yep.
there hasn't been really much out of that team that I've seen to where they can kind of take the leap again to be in contention uh, to win another Super Bowl. So I have them third, and then the Cardinals. God, I mean, what is that team even doing? Like, it's just like the Titans, man. Like, it's like, what's your plan? Like, do you
Yep.
want Kyler Murray? Do you not want Kyler
Yep.
Murray? It's like,
Right.
like I don't even know I don't think they know what they want, and
They
that's the
don't.
scary part. So I have the Cardinals finishing dead last in that division. I don't even think they make. I don't think they get to 500. I mean, even with Kyler Murray, like I don't think
Way
they
under
get to
500.
500.
I don't think they get to 250. They're not even going to win a quarter of their games.
Oh my god! All right, what are your? I think you might have the same as me.
All right, here we go. 49ers number 1. I think they have a chance to compete for the first seed. I think they finished with an identical record last year. Even though people might have Purdy figured out, I think they got two solid backups, man. If Purdy goes down or if he doesn't play well, you can literally slide Trey Lance or Sam Darnold in there. Now, Sam Darnold, I still believe in Sam Darnold. I'm still a believer in Sam Darnold. I just think he needs a quarterback whisperer like their coach. He's perfect for them. Shanahan is like perfect for that. And then and if he goes down, you got freaking Trey Lance, who's like, who was he? Like, he was the number 1 pick, was he not? He was the
He was
number 1
top three.
pick or top 3
He was
pick?
third,
Yeah.
I think.
I think they win one. I think they get first easily. The defense is going to be lights out again, like they are every freaking year. I think the Seahawks are going to finish second, but I think the Seahawks win a lot of games. I think the Seahawks will go 11-6 or 12-5. I think they're going to be that freaking good, and I think the defense is going to be much improved. And then I got the Rams along with you. I'm right on target. We don't really know with the Rams, and then the Cardinals. I think they win 3 games next year.
Yeah. Well, look at that. Okay, so
Yep.
who are your 7 teams from the NFC and the AFC making the playoffs?
Philadelphia and San Francisco in contention for 1. Then you got, let me see here, Philadelphia and San Francisco, right? That's what I said. Then I think you got the Cowboys, Seahawks. No, Cowboys, Lions. So Cowboys, Lions, Vikings, Giants, and last but not least, the NFC South team is going to be the Saints for me. I mean, they're going to be bad, but they're going to win the division. What about you?
For the NFC, for me, I have the Eagles as the 1 seed, the Niners as the 2. I have the Lions as the 3. I have, let me see, I have the Giants as the 4. Or excuse me, the Panthers as the 4 since they win their division. The
Oh,
Giants as the 5.
I forgot to take that into account.
Yeah,
Yep.
division winners get the top 4. So
Yeah, I
um,
forgot that. I forgot that.
the Panthers as the 4, Giants as the 5, Vikings as the 6, Cowboys as the 7.
Who was 7? Who'd you say for 7?
The Cowboys.
Dang, that's crazy. 7. All right, I'll take my AFC. I think you got Chiefs 1, Ravens 2, Bills 3, Jets. Oh no, it can't be. It has to be a division winner. Jaguars 4. No, whoa! I totally forgot about the Jags. Hold on. Ravens 1. Oh no, not Ravens 1. Chiefs 1, Ravens 2, Jaguars 3, Bills 4. Dang, that's crazy. The Bills slid. Bengals 5, Jets 6, Dolphins 7.
I don't know if I agree with that. I have the Bills getting the 1 this year. I think this is the year they get over the hump. They get that first round bye. I think the Chiefs might. I think that head to head, because they have the head to head, the Bills and the Chiefs. I think the Bills beat the Chiefs in that head to head, and they get the 1 seed because of that game. I think it'll literally come down to the last week, and that head to head will get the Bills over the hump for that 1 seed. I think that the 2 seed is going to be the Chiefs. I have the 3 seed as the Jags, the 4 seed as the Bengals, the 5 seed the Ravens, 6 seed the Jets, and the 7 seed the Broncos. Boom.
Okay,
Broncos make the
interesting. I think
playoffs.
all I gotta say is I've been right on a lot of my predictions, so we'll see what happens here when the season starts. So
We shall see. I don't have the Dolphins making the playoffs. Note that I don't
that's
have them in.
mind-boggling. I know, and you have the Broncos over them. It's crazy.
Yeah.
I don't have the Chargers
But
making it. So
the Chargers, I don't know, man. That they're like one of those teams you have to see it first, and then you can kind
yeah,
of make a decision. But
yeah,
obviously, Justin Herbert's a freaking maniac.
yeah.
Austin Eckler's a
Yeah.
dog. Mike Williams, Keenan Allen, and we'll see how Quentin Johnston does. But I don't know where he's going to fit in that offense. I'm still the jury's out on that one. We'll see where they
Right.
slide him in.
Right.
But like I said, you have to see it before you can make a decision. Kind of the same with the Broncos, but I just trust Sean Payton a lot more than I do Brandon Staley. So that's why I have
Yep.
them finishing ahead. But I think that's pretty much it for our call or for our NFL.
Do you want to
Predictions.
transition into college real quick?
Yeah. So we had, and I know this is not Isaiah's wheelhouse per se, I know you generally keep up with college football somewhat,
Hmm.
but I'm definitely more of a. I like both, obviously, but I love Saturday football. It just makes me feel better. You know, like it's the best time of the year. Just being able to sit down on the couch and crack open a beer and watch a bunch of 18, 19-year-olds play football. So, but the big news, and we should have Mr. Tim coming in here in a few minutes. Um, but we have the essentially the Big 12, the SEC, and the Big 10 have kind of solidified themselves as kind of the Power Three now, because it used to be the Power
Okay.
Five, because we had the Big 10, Pac-12, which is the West Coast,
Right.
ACC, SEC, and Big 12. Um, but Texas and Oklahoma decided they wanted to dip out, go to the SEC. So the Big 12, who ended up hiring Brett Yormark, who was if I'm not mistaken, the president of the Brooklyn Nets. He was, I think, like their operations or whatever. He worked for the Nets.
Yeah.
He worked for Jay-Z's Rock Nation. He was the president for that, and then he got picked up to be the commissioner of the Big 12. So essentially,
Right.
what he did was he essentially said, "I'm not going to let this conference, now that I just got here, I'm not going to let this conference uh, go into shambles." So what he did, he
Hmm.
went ahead and picked up uh, UCF in Orlando, the University of Cincinnati, University of Houston, and which one am I missing? Oh, BYU. Uh, and that kind of,
Brigham Young.
I know. So that kind of made the Big 12 stay alive. But this past week was kind of the biggest blow to the Pac-12 because the Pac-12 lost USC and UCLA to the Big Ten starting next year. So they kind of followed suit after Texas and OU left the Big 12. They said, we're leaving the Pac 12, going to the Big 10. It's all a money game. College
Hmm.
sports is all a money game. But the nail in the coffin to the Pac 12 was last week when Colorado decided they were going to join the Big 12. So the Big 12
Uh huh.
has essentially
I heard about that.
made its recovery and has solidified itself as a conference that's going to last for years to come. And I think their expansion is not even close to being done. Um,
Hmm.
so getting Deion Sanders, now obviously Colorado football has not been great. Hence why they
They have not.
had to pick up Deion. But the Pac-12 just lost their biggest personality in Deion Sanders, and that's a huge blow because Colorado is going to improve. Their recruiting is going to go up. Their performance on field is going to go up, and
Right.
they're going to compete in the Big 12 for years to come. So this was a big, huge game for the Big 12 because it solidified themselves as a conference that's going to last. And the Pac-12 is absolutely dead in the water. Like it is not a conference that's going to sustain itself. It is it's really the Pac-9 now. They have 9 teams that are going to be there in 2024, and like they
Mm.
have no TV media deal. They're not going to have ESPN on their side anymore. They're not going to have Fox Sports on their side after this year, so it's going to be tough.
Hmm.
From what I've heard, it's essentially a TV streaming with Apple that they've kind of come up
Yep.
with, um, and
Yep.
I don't think it's sustainable. Oh, look who it is!
What
How
up?
you
What's
doing, G?
up? Welcome back.
I tell you what, if I had y'all's hand, I'd cut mine's off.
Oh my goodness! Hold on, I'm gonna take these headphones off. They're kind of bothering me. But yeah, I think hold on. I think the Pac-12 is dead. I don't think the Pac-12 is going to survive. I think the ACC is next. I think Florida State. I know Mr. Tim's Seminoles are they're coming into the
Seminoles.
SEC or the Big 12, one of the two. And then I think Miami and Clemson are going to follow them, and then the ACC is going to be dead soon. Um, so I don't know. I think it's going to end up being a Power Three kind of thing. And I hate it because the regions in college football was really made college football fun to watch. Was that you had your West Coast, you had like the South Central, you had the Southeast, and then you had the North. But now it's just become a money game, and there's no regional football anymore. It's going to be UCLA traveling to Penn State to play football and traveling to freaking Rutgers to
It's
play
crazy.
football. Like
Yeah.
I can't imagine that flight going from Los Angeles to wherever Rutgers is. So in New Jersey. So that's it's no longer a regional thing. So I think it's going to be interesting. I think the playoff is going to change significantly. It used because they're expanding to 12 teams next year, and I think it was like 6 automatic bids to power, 6 conferences. But like, there's not going to be a power 6 next year. It's going to be a power 3.5. Like, because the ACC might survive another year, but I don't think the Pac is going to be anywhere to be seen after next year. Mr. Sam, I want to get your thoughts on what do you think? What do you think is going to happen to the Pac-12 here? Do you think it's going to crumble?
Well, I 100% agree with you. Curious what's going to happen to USC and Oregon. Those are about the 2 power teams in that conference. But I have a lot of beef with the 12-team tournament because that means there's teams that's going to get buys. And in football, with it being so physical, those buys are just too much of an advantage for me. It either has to be 4, 8, or 16. I've always had my vision of an 8-team tournament with it being 5 bids go to the Power Fives, Big 12, Big 10, ACC, SEC, and the Pac-12. Each get their rep in with 3 left over, 2 at larges, and I always wanted that one bid to go to the highest ranked mid-major, give them a Cinderella shot.
Mm-hmm.
That way, and sometimes there's been years like when I think it was Central Florida was really good. Even though they're the mid-major, they would not have been the 8th seed. They could have been the 5th seed.
Yeah.
Just because you're a Power 5 conference winner does not guarantee the top 5 slots. But I just have a lot of beef with the 12-man tournament because those buys are just too big for me. I don't think nobody should get a buy because it's just too physical of a game. But I agree with both you guys. When I came in earlier, I agree with both you guys 100%. Florida State's been trying to get out of the ACC for the longest. The SEC is the premier conference. Everybody knows it. It's not a secret. I'd like to see Notre Dame go to the Big Ten.
Yeah, me too.
I'd like to see Florida State, Clemson, and Miami go to the SEC. I'd like to see Nebraska and A&M go back to the Big 12. I'm kind of a purist. And I don't know. I agree with you guys. I think they're gonna get rid of Pac-10's gonna be gone soon. Pac-12, whatever they're called nowadays. No, I think I agree with you guys.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I think the future of college football is kind of up in the air because this realignment is nowhere close to being done. I don't think that the Big 12 is done expanding. I don't think the Big 10, the SEC they're done expanding. My only concern is what's going to happen to like the North schools like Syracuse, Boston College, Wake Forest. Like, what's going to happen to all those guys? Are they going to hop in the Big 10? Are they going to come to the Big 12 or join the American Conference or something like that? Like it's just there's a lot of schools that are like in limbo, and they gotta be treading on thin water, seeing all this conference alignment. Like Big 12, if you're in the Big 12, you're good. SEC, you're good. Big 10, you're good. But those outliers, Washington State, Oregon State, and the Pac-12, like where's home for them? You don't really know it yet. So that's kind of the scary part for them.
You got to remember that some of those schools you named are basketball powerhouses. So when it comes to basketball season, they kind of want them in that conference. You got, for example, Vanderbilt. Unbelievably, is a baseball power. Kentucky, not much of football, but they're basketball power. Syracuse, Wake Forest, all basketball.
Yeah. Yep. It's definitely gonna be interesting. I'm intrigued. I like the prospect of an expanded playoff. Just because the 4 team, you'll get like the occasional TCU in the national championship, um, but it doesn't really allow like those sleeper kind of under the radar teams to really get the exposure. And I think the 12 team, or even, and I kind of agree with you, the 12 team is kind of odd. I would have preferred a 16 team playoff because that just kind of allows for more schools to get exposure and get that money. But 12 team is what we have. It's gonna have to, we're gonna have to live with that. But
Yeah, the Division 3s, Division 2s, the FCSs, they all do 16 teams. They all holler about it can't be done, but it can be done. You may have to go to a 10-game regular season schedule, but it can be done.
absolutely, it's not impossible. It's definitely doable. I mean, they obviously managed to get it to 12 teams, but I don't think the 4 team was ever good. I never like there wasn't a year outside of this past year, where there were 2 really good playoff games, and you got that sleeper pick in TCU to kind of get to the national championship. And then Ohio State back in 2014 when they were the 4 seed, no one really expected them to get out of the semifinal game. But I mean, it's been pretty straightforward. And with the 12 team, you're definitely going to get more parity. You're going to get more of the upsets because it's definitely a lot more preparation, a lot more kind of getting ready for the game itself. So I think it's going to be interesting to see how it pans out. We have one more year of the 4 team, but we'll see. Do you have any thoughts, Isaiah?
No, but I do have a question for you guys. Has anything like this ever happened in the past similar? Like I know there's been like a couple of changes here and there, but why is this so significant versus to anything else that's happened in the past with conference realignment?
Mm. That's a tough question. I mean,
Yeah.
everybody wants a big piece of the pie. That's the SEC. Everybody wants to get paid. Everybody wants to tell it. I think the SEC, being who they are, they get who they want. Pick of the litter. King of the hill. Hell, Georgia could have won the NFC East last year.
You think they could have beat the Eagles?
I don't know. Shit.
I
I know
think
the
some
Eagles team
college teams could beat the
Georgia
NFL teams.
Bulldogs.
I think Georgia last year could have beat whoever the worst team in the league was, the Panthers.
Yeah.
They could have at least competed. I mean, obviously they're professionals, but they could have kept it close. I mean,
Philly got half of Georgia's team.
Yeah,
that's true. This is true.
They do.
It's crazy. That's mind-boggling to me.
Yeah, I mean they stole Jalen Carter. I don't know how they pulled that one off. That was crazy to see them draft Carter.
Who knows? Who knows?
I mean,
you talking what's that guy's name? Mario Andretti?
Huh?
That Carter kid.
Yeah, Jalen Carter out of Georgia. Oh, you're talking about
that's Mario Andretti.
Yeah, he's the one. Yeah. I forgot about that. Oh yeah, I do remember that. Yeah.
Yeah, man, I am as interested as you guys are with the alignment. I have no idea where it's going to go.
Yeah.
My Seminoles have been talking about going to SEC for the longest, never made the move, but let's see.
Yeah. I mean, we'll see. Yeah. Now, quick before because we gotta wrap this up here soon. But Mr. Tim, I want to get some of your NFL predictions here before we hop off for the evening. So who do you have? I guess as your top 4 seeds in each of the conferences.
All right. I hope I don't screw this up. I love the Bengals. Philly. See what the Bills are going to do. And are those all three different conferences?
Yeah. So you had Philly in the NFC, and you had Cincy in the AFC, Bills in the AFC. And I think that was all you named.
So NFC, man, Jesus, it won't be the Jets, it won't be the Cowboys, it won't be the Panthers, it won't be the Falcons, it won't be the Buccaneers.
God, no.
All right, I got it. I think, but isn't Miami an AFC team?
Miami's AFC, yeah.
Yeah.
I think they're pretty good. I don't think the Saints are that good here. The NFC's kind of weak, if you ask me.
Yeah, it's really weak. It's gonna be super weak this year.
That one with Atlanta, Tampa Bay, Carolina, and the Saints.
We were just talking about that.
Yeah,
I said it's
500 record may get them in.
It's so bad that somebody gets to make the playoffs from that conference.
500 may get you in.
Yeah, it honestly might. It's that bad.
I'm a big Joe Burrows fan. I like that guy a lot. It's amazing how he was the Ohio Player of the Year. Goes to Ohio State and has to sit the bench.
Right.
Transfers to Baton Rouge and shows out.
Yep. Best college quarterback.
Goes to Cincinnati, the freezing cold, and plays well there.
First full season, he made the Super Bowl. It's crazy. Not a lot of people can say they do that.
Who else in the NFC, Oliver?
The Cowboys, Giants, 49ers, Vikings, Lions. I
like where Detroit's going.
Yep, yeah, I agree. 100%. They're going to be good. They're going to be good.
Now, DeWan played for them back in 2011.
Yeah, that's right.
Mm-hmm. They sucked hairy balls.
Was that when Matt Stafford
was good
in Detroit? I think Matt Stafford was still there, right?
Yeah, he got there because him and Megatron was still hooking up. Stafford finished high school in 2006.
Yeah, because he went to Highland Park.
DeWan finished. Yes, he went to Highland Park out of Dallas, and DeWan finished in 2007. So the story I have to tell you about Megatron is DeWan told me they were doing physicals, and DeWan was sitting next to him, waiting to see the doctor, and he said, Megatron says, "Hey, my name is Calvin. How you doing?" And DeWan said, "Oh, hi, my name is DeWan. How are you?" That was it. He didn't know who Megatron was. Jesus Christ, DeWan, he's like 7 feet tall.
That's crazy. He didn't even recognize him?
No, DeWan never watched a lot of TV.
Yeah.
But still, I'm with you. Georgia Tech boy. That's crazy. He went to Georgia Tech, and they were a running team.
Yeah, they run the triple option. It's absurd.
Yeah.
They're like a
why would you go there?
Yeah. But, I mean, he's one of the best to ever do it. So, I mean, they must be doing something right over there. But, yeah, I think the Lions are definitely going to sneak in and win their division. They're going to be good this year.
Isaiah, next time I'm on this podcast, can you dumb the questions down for me?
I got you. Yeah.
Or give me a prelim of what you're going to ask me, because that was too much to handle.
Usually Oliver's the one with the questions. He's usually the real good one with the questions.
Figure out what teams and what conference, AFC, NFC. Jesus.
Yeah, it's a lot.
Let's narrow it down. Who are you looking at this year? What team specifically? Obviously
like
Cincinnati.
I love San Fran. Darius is friends with a guy named Fred Williams.
He plays for the Niners, doesn't
He
he?
trains with him a lot of time. No, his brother does Trent.
Oh, yes.
Oh
Okay.
yeah, he's the old lineman. Trent Williams is the old
Yeah.
lineman for the Niners. Yep.
Yeah, and Fred's just as big as his brother.
Dang. Yeah,
Trent Williams
that
is
dude
huge.
Trent Williams is a giant.
Yeah.
I like San Fran. I like Philly. I like Cincinnati. I like Buffalo. Yeah.
Jacksonville. Don't forget about Jacksonville.
I like Jacksonville. You're right. They got their quarterback. I like them. Good. Yeah. I
I
think
want to
Miami can try somebody.
what do you think about Baltimore? Because I'm really high on Baltimore. I think they win almost like I think they win 13 or 14 games this year. I was telling Oliver. What do you think about them? You think it's too early?
Now I think they got their quarterback signed now. Hopefully he's happy. If he's happy, I think they'll be successful. They're a playoff team.
Okay.
But he was disgruntled.
He was 100%. He was last season. He was signing posters that said "pay him." Like he wasn't. Like his mind was somewhere else. It wasn't even on the field most of the time. He was on the field.
No, I like Baltimore. I think Baltimore and the Chicago Bears had the two best defenses back in '84. And when did Baltimore win that with Ray Lewis? What year?
Oh, was that
20
early 2000s? It was the early 2000s.
early 2000s.
Or mid 2000s, sorry.
Because I remember
They
Baltimore
played against San Francisco. They beat San Francisco in the Super Bowl.
That
It was
Baltimore
Jim
had
versus.
Trent Dilfer.
Oh. Hmm.
Was it Trent Dilfer at quarterback?
No, Flacco.
It was. I believe it was Flacco.
I think Dilfer might have
talking
played
about-
for the Ravens.
Are you talking about Flacco from the Blue Hens?
Oh, yeah. The Delaware Blue Hen.
The Delaware Blue Hens?
I forgot he went there. That's crazy. Yeah.
Yeah.
But, I mean,
That's like Ben Roethlisberger. He didn't go to Ohio State.
he went to Miami of Ohio.
Miami, Ohio.
Yeah.
And not the real Miami.
No, not the U.
No. But, yeah, all right. Well, I think we went way over time. What's our time at? Because I cut out in the middle. What's our time at, Isaiah?
1:30. We're at an hour and 33 minutes right now.
I think that's probably the longest one we've had. But
No, we've had a 2
Anyways.
hour. Our first one was 2 hours.
Smooth like
Yeah,
your
that's
father's
right.
bourbon.
You said what?
Your father and his liquor.
Oh my goodness. But all right, well thanks for tuning in, everybody. We hope you enjoyed our NFL predictions, and Mr. Tim coming in.
Oh,
thank you
real quick.
for hopping in.
Real quick, I gotta throw an alibi out there. So Saturday I was at Darius' house for the fight.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, that
And
was an ass beating. It wasn't even close.
I told Darius that I'm no longer making predictions. I fucking suck. I told Darius that it'd be a close fight. There'll be no knockouts. And I had what's his name winning?
Errol Spence.
Errol Spence?
Yeah. Wrong, and wrong.
Yeah. It's so hard with fighting, I feel like, to predict. It's like one of the hardest things to predict.
So Oliver, you saw my text message to you by Darius?
Yeah. He's fighting on the 16th, right?
I told him if you wear a sombrero and you come in with a mariachi band, you're fucking in.
He's fighting.
If he comes in with his Houston gear on, he'll be booed.
Because he's fighting. It's in LA, right?
He's fighting a Mexican fighter that's ranked higher than he is.
Well, he's got some time to train. I know he'll be putting in that work.
Yeah.
Because based off our conversation with him, he seemed like he was ready to get back at it. So, we wish him the best. We actually talked about him at the beginning of the pod, so
yeah, absolutely.
I think he's gonna. We're gonna send our best wishes. We hope.
I've been thinking about giving up my prediction game because it sucks. I have like no credibility. Who do you like in football? I don't fucking.
Oh my goodness. Well, thank you again, Mr. Tim.
Thank you
We'll
for joining
definitely
us. Much appreciated.
All right,
yeah,
guys.
we're
Y'all be
gonna
good.
have you on. Yeah, thanks.
All right, have a good one. Well, yeah, like Oliver said, guys, everybody, thanks for tuning in to this rather longer episode than usual, but we did have a lot to get through, so we're both
Yeah.
very excited for football season. Can't wait to actually start talking about the games after they happen and see where our predictions lead us. But make sure you guys follow us on Instagram, on Twitter. We posted our episode with Darius on YouTube, so you can look us up on YouTube as well. We're going to start uploading to YouTube as well. And make sure you guys leave comments or send us DMs or whatever on stuff you may or may not want us to talk about. And we'll keep that in mind. Until next time, guys, deuces.
Hey, don't put mayo in your coffee, people. It's bad luck.
Don't do it. Don't do it.
Thanks again, everybody. We'll see you next time.